Dispenser going up.
Hey everyone, Shoe Nice again. Well, basically, Uncle Dane is a very good sentry man.
Hello and welcome to You and Your Engineer, a guide on how to successfully work with and assist your fellow engineers while playing Team Fortress 2. So let's get right into it, shall we? This is hands down the easiest thing that you can do to help your engineer because all it requires is restraint. If you see a metal pack on the ground and an engineer nearby, just don't pick it up. And this doesn't just mean during setup time, this applies pretty much whenever, but it especially matters during setup time and while things are a bit crazy in the moment. So think of it like this: if your pocket medic is hurt, you would leave the health pack for him because it's more important to keep the player who has the ability to dish out an infinite amount of health alive than it is to temporarily keep yourself alive. So leaving the health packs for the healers is important. While the same thing can be said about engineer and ammo packs, it's much more important to leave the metal to be used to build a dispenser, which can dish out an infinite amount of ammo, than it is to give yourself more ammo in most situations. Now, there can always be a few exceptions to both the medic analogy and the engineer situation, especially when it comes to making sure that you're healthy or loaded up enough for the on-the-spot protection, but most of the time playing around this unspoken rule that the engineer has first dibs on the ammo packs is the most efficient way of doing things. In fact, while we're on the subject, I've always thought it would be extremely helpful to be able to see the metal count of friendly engineers, similar to how you can currently see the ammo of your pocket when playing as medic. This would make the decision to take or leave an ammo pack for the engineer much easier. But in the meantime, I guess I'll just put it on my Smithmas list. As the engineer player, spies can sometimes be pretty easy to deal with, or a huge pain in the rear, depending on your current loadout and the skill of the spy in question. But considering that looking out for spies is one of the many things that an engineer has on his mind while maintaining his buildings, making sure the spy is dead as much as possible is something that you can do to remove a huge worry in the back of his head, making the rest of his engineer life, which heavily includes supporting you, much easier. So what can you do to effectively assist your friendly Engie in the Frenchman hunting minigame? Well, the easiest way to be more aware is to simply turn up your volume. Spies make a ton of noise when they harass engineers, ranging from the distinct hissing sound of their sappers to the unmistakable loud screaming of your teammates when they get a knife in their back. A spy will also make noise indirectly through your friendly engineer by prompting him to shout class lines such as "Spy sapping my sentry!" which is pretty on the nose about what he's trying to convey to anyone within earshot. So the thesis of this particular lesson is quite simple as well. If you hear anything that suggests that there's a spy nearby, turn around. If you often find yourself not hearing anything that spies tend to do to your team, again, turn up the volume. Also, specific classes can often do specific things to prevent spies from harassing your engineer. Demomen can place sticky traps underneath sentry guns and detonate the exact second that they hear a voice cue from the engineer. Scouts are quite good at chasing down spies after they try to escape with both their mad milk and the fact that they can run real good. Pyro, of course, is pretty good at killing spies, but never forget that killing the spy is priority number one, and a Pybro should only really concern themselves with unsapping buildings with their homewrecker or neon annihilator once the spy is confirmed to be dead or far enough away to where he can't reapply a sapper. And if you come out of spawn and there's a sapper on a teleporter, you can always quickly switch to engineer and remove it yourself. It only takes about 3 seconds, which is still a shorter amount of time than what it would have taken to walk to the front after pathetically staring at the teleporter while it dies.
Dane, I'm sorry. I didn't know that. I'm sorry. You're not mad at me, are you? I didn't mean to. Dane, I'm sorry. I really am. I mean it. Dane.
This lesson is probably the most important one of all, but also the most difficult to reliably observe, simply because it requires that your friendly engineer kind of knows what he's doing. But if your team has an Engie player who doesn't just build a full 2 points away from where the front lines of battle are happening, positioning yourself around your engineer is the best way to ensure you have a good defensive hold. Generally, you want to make sure that the sentry gun is not the most forward positioned thing by default. Ideally, the sentry should be a fallback option, something that you can bait the enemy team into as they try and chase for a kill, which means that most of the time, you and your combat class lineup should be playing in front of the sentry gun. Keep in mind that the purpose of a sentry is never to be the main source of damage output, nor is it intended to be a bullet sponge. It's simply an area denial tool that punishes single, injured players for getting too far into your side of the field without backup. So in order for the sentry gun to do this job effectively, you need to create a meat shield in front of it using your team. From here, you can easily both keep an eye on the engineer, just in case a spy goes for his nest, as well as provide an extra line of defense even before they get to the sentry itself. Not to mention, having the sentry positioned behind you makes it really simple to fall back to an area where it is impossible for an overeager player to chase you down to finish you off. If you constantly play behind the engineer's sentry, you will very likely be putting him in an unmanageable line of focus fire, which is essentially the best way to counter a level 3 gun. Basically, sentries are really good at slowing down the enemy team's momentum, and when the momentum killer is destroyed right away, that just leaves the rest of your team vulnerable to a runaway train of Ubers and buff players that are now able to just shove themselves through your entire life. Individual classes can also assist in specific ways, such as the heavy weapons guy, who, while buffed by a medic to 450 health, can stand directly in front of a sentry gun to sponge damage and provide an extra layer of suppressing fire when the enemy attempts to spam out the gun. And this is just referring to the situations where your engineer is already completely set up and ready to defend. But it's the same story, except with a little bit more of a babysitting theme when it comes to aiding an engineer who is just getting his nest started. It's extremely important to play around your engineer once he's decided where to set up shop, although it's worth noting that you shouldn't play directly on top of your NG, since splash damage from spam that is actually intended for you can easily ruin the progress of a low health building. So if you see that your engineer is trying to get his stuff built, make sure you keep an eye on the incoming forces and try your best to delay them from walking over to the significantly weaker setup that the NG's currently got going. Even delaying the enemy by 10 or 15 seconds can be the difference between them having to deal with a helpless engineer with no buildings or a level 2 sentry gun when they come around the corner. Hey medics, what's up? I know it's pretty fun to wreck house with your buddy on soldier, or follow around the heavy with 3 unusuals the entire game for a godlike kill streak, so if that's your prerogative, go for it. But while you're hanging out back at the dispenser to refill your crossbow arrows, can you, really quick, just overheal the engineer? Overhealing is extremely powerful on literally every class, and the engineer is no different. When the NG has 185 health, he can survive a quick scope headshot, 3 non-direct rockets, 2 melee hits, and just take more long-range spam in general. And when the engineer is buffed, this can allow him to take more risks, which will lead to more rewards, which leads to doing his job better, which leads to you living a lot longer and getting a higher kill streak. Everyone wins. In fact, pocketing the engineer during an Uber push is often pretty effective, since the key to killing any tanked sentry gun is usually going to be to focus down the engineer. But if he's being healed constantly, it's going to end up being pretty difficult and often impossible without the enemy team's full attention. And even if you're faced with an Uber soldier who will stop at nothing to destroy your wrangled sentry gun, hot tip, pick up the sentry gun, pop that Uber, invincible sentry. Look, it might not seem like a lot when you put your medigun on the NG for less than a second, but it certainly makes your engineer a whole hell of a lot safer, and by extension, makes your entire team safer. It's a simple thing that goes a long way, so medics, if you see an opportunity to give your engineer a buff, do it. Now this isn't a new tip. In fact, since I've already mentioned this multiple times across many videos over the years, I've personally noticed a huge increase in teleporters getting upgraded in casual mode. A lot of you guys might not be veterans, but take it from me, I've been playing this game for over 5 years now. Most of the time has been dedicated to playing engineer, and let me tell ya, people hardly ever used to upgrade my teleporter at spawn. Nowadays, I think I see it automatically happening in about 4 to 5 games, and it's awesome. So thanks guys, you're helping to find the team in Team Fortress 2 one step at a time. But if you're unfamiliar with this movement, it's quite simple. If you see a level 1 teleporter at spawn, temporarily switch to engineer and upgrade it. It will take you 10 seconds and it makes a huge difference. It's even become twice as fast to do this during setup time ever since Jungle Inferno, so make no hesitations people. Upgrading teleporters saves time, and time is money, and money is power, and power is in the tongue. Sure. Hey, do you want to chat with me and other Uncle Dane fans, commonly referred to as nieces or nephews, in the biggest and best Uncle Dane and TF2 community hub on the internet? Well, you probably already know about the Uncle Dane Discord by now, but if you don't, you should join it by clicking the link in the description. But even if you don't want to join my dumb server, you should honestly still get a Discord account because you can make your own server with Blackjack and Hookers. You can even call it the Blackjack and Hookers Community Discord if you wanted to. You can call it anything and invite whoever you want. I don't really care what you do, and neither should you because it's completely free. So yeah, come over to my place and see a pizza roll, or you can just make your own server and invite your dad, or you can do both. You can join my Discord and invite your dad to it. He's pretty cool. Well, he's probably pretty cool. I don't know your dad yet. All right, anyway, plug is over. Here is the end of the video. Bye.